We're live. There we go. Fantastic. Welcome back if you've come back to the final episode, I guess. Work in progress on this flower. And let's bring up the original reference photo. Here we go. Quite dark, very deep magenta background, but lighter at the top. With the type of paper I've been working with, the Canson Moonstone tientes. You see a lot of that paper coming through. So unless I've done an underpainting of gouache or something, which I've never done on this paper before, I'm not sure how it copes with underpainting. It feels quite fragile compared to pastel matte. Anyway, I haven't got the same contrast, but that's okay because when we take a photo, and I'm going from a photo reference, the contrast is much stronger than what we see with our eyes. We actually can see quite well in the dark, contrary to what some think. Anyway, so I've sort of got the background to roughly where I want it to be. Very happy with the stalk or stem. Let's see if we can zoom in on that. Let me zoom in, go down, and zoom in. And, oops, the other way. So that came out really nice. At least I thought it was nice. And we've got, using the paper, there's a touch of the paper in there. And there's just a little couple of dashes of, would you believe it, a turquoise. Because as regular viewers will know, I love turquoise. So let's zoom out again. So what's left to do on the painting? Maybe tone that back a little bit. But the background, I've got to sort of stop fiddling with it or rethink how I'm going to do it, because I just can't get those darks happening, and I do not want to use black. I do not want to use black. I could use a Payne's or a phthalo blue, but I don't think it's going to make much difference. Not significantly. So instead what I'm going to do is just try and pop the flower a little bit more and get some lights and darks going on the flower, because at the moment it's a little flat, and that's because I had blocked it all in. Might just need to knock the saturation back on the picture. One moment. That looks pretty true to what I'm seeing here. Because I've got a spotlight on the artwork, it will look a little brighter. So if I just turn that off for a sec. Well, that's more how I see it. And then the camera's got to cope with the sort of bright bits. But hopefully this will be good enough for you to follow along with as I try to just keep it bigger. Reference photo up close. Okay. So I'm going to use the pan pastels. That's what we're going to do. And I've got a bunch set up in front of me. Let's see if we can just go to that. So I've got some yellows over here, and and in front of me are my violets and magentas. some blues and greens over here. I won't touch the greens, but I may use the light blue. I think that is, what is that blue? That might be ultramarine, I think. Oh, it's a phthalo blue tint. What's that? Yep, your phthalo blue too. Alrighty. Oh, okay, my ultramarines are over there. Yeah, I think the turquoise and the phthalo might just work a little bit better because they're cool. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll give it a go anyway and see what happens. Let's get back to our main view. Here we go. Right. So once this one's done, then I'll crack on with doing the same. So I've set aside all the pastel pencils that I used in the last one, more than what I expected. Some only lightly, but I want to use them again in the next flower, which will be on the pastel mat. Then I can make a value judgment on which do I prefer. The handsome paper or the pastel mat for doing flowers, because I don't want to pick the wrong one. So we might just start by seeing if we can get a little bit darker on some of these. And I had started just using magentas really. To build up the main layers. There's a little bit of violet that's been layered on top using the pastel pencil, but for the most part we're on team magenta. Now I'd always pictured that I was going to finish with the hand pastels. And one thing I have learnt with this paper is that pencil work is fine with it. You can easily get lots of nice little layers. Pan pastel, however, follows its nature, which is very grabby. And it's going to soak into the paper, even though it's dry. And so it doesn't float on the paper. So if I was to, so where I'm heading with this is that you want to have a pretty good idea of, you need to know how your pastels work with your papers, which is why I did this in the first place, to learn how does pan pastel play on this particular paper. To get just a little bit of it's cooler. Um, I want to play with the magenta and the violet together if I can. Come straight off. Well, it's all a learning curve. I will probably have to come in with pastel pencil at the end. So maybe do a little bit of line work on the edges because there's tone that down a bit. That's it. I've got quite a bit of, I had to, each of these petals does cast a shadow, so it's got a drop shadow on the next one. Hopefully my head is not getting in the way of the shot. My apologies if it is. I end up concentrating and forgetting that you need to see what I'm doing. Well, you don't have to see what I'm doing. You might just be here, as some people do, to hear the New Zealand accent. And that's totally fine. Don't mind sharing my accent. Bit more violet on there. And then knock it back with the tint. Okay. That's working. That's working. Yes. Actually, that's magenta. Losing a little bit of definition there, which is annoying. Let's get it back with a pencil. Quite hard to get the shape, and then if it disappears, a little frustrating. Just need a blush. Good enough for me. Right, this one here, this petal's the most important of them all. And we're not really going to do too much to this one. Let's bring in some yellow. Yellow and white. We want it to pop. So where's my super white? Where has that gone? Looking for that one the other day. Is that the Duke? Don't want you. Oh, there it is. Yeah, a little bit of this white is just super white. And I normally just use it very sparingly. A little goes a very long way. Um, to dark. Bit of light. How's that going? It's very white. Might just put a little bit of pink. Green. Just gonna dilute it a little bit. Here I say I'm going to be working with the pan pastels, and what I do, tell porkies and go straight back to working with pencils, but the thing with very hard to you want to be careful not to give yourself too many boundaries, I think, in art, and go, well, this is how I must do it. Do that without trying to destroy it. Wow. Where's that hot pink? Mm. Get the violet going down in here. It's blues. There we go. Darker. Sometimes it's better to just pull out the pencil and crack on with the pencil, because as much as I love the pan pastels, so my skills with reversing a trailer aren't that great. And sometimes pan pastels can feel as unwieldy as moving a trailer. On a nice yellow. Let's start with a white though. And come over this with a over it with a white, with a yellow rather. Just with that edge. Glaze over it. That whiteness off, but gonna come bring some of that yellow into the end around. Yeah, because we've lost the edge there. The yellow have I got? Yeah, right there. Losing it. Oh, it's the edge. It's good. Okay. It's good. That one's got some red in it. Okay. Just drop a bit of that red. I have got the red there. A little bit more. Okay. Now this is quite a white one. A bit more white coming up from here. Yeah. Just pull that around because I'm trying to colour it in. Just want intermittent, flaky lines if I can. Flaky. Just want it to pop a bit more. And here, I'll go back to violet. Come on, pick up. The pencil work. Well, it's all a learning curve, and while I've seen some do wonderful works with in pastel, I'm going to say that it's not the, and I like pen pastel, but on pastel mat, this is I feel like I'm fighting with the paper. When using pen pastel, but I don't feel that way when I'm using the pencils. Although Derwent, so this is a Derwent pastel, they're very thick. They go on quite creamy compared to a Carbothello, which can stutter across the page. I'm not sure if they're a little bit harder or what's going on there. I do want some violet in here though. Pick up. Okay. Down in there. Something softer. Just sort of dabbing it rather than, and very gently. So it's just sitting on top of the paper. And cleaning the applicator quite often. Now we want some yellow in here. because this is quite bright. And we might use now if you here's the thing that I'm going to have a crack at with pastels. A lot of people I've said it before, feel pastel's too fragile. But what if pastel is actually a really great medium for getting your artwork done? So it's got a nice oil sort of, you know, it's pastels are a lot like oils. They're just dry. They're exactly the same pigments, just in a dry format. So if you got your painting done, the beauty of pastels is that, you know, you don't have to worry about dry times. And this particular painting, it could be considered, oh no, that's too fragile. No. But you get your photo, you turn it into a print, you just sell the print, right? And then you actually manage to turn around work faster using pastels than you would with oil paints. And I think, as far as a business plan goes, that's pretty good. Don't get too fussy, David. This is a shadow leaf. And we want to just roll some violet down here as well. Bluish. Bluey red. Okay. Up to this is a need some this is a main leaf. The main leaves were quite happy, or leaf petal. It's a petal, not a leaf. Don't mind so much using the pastel pencil on it. Move back that magenta a little bit. And that's it, I'll bring the magenta straight back in soon, but try hint. Whoops. Whoops, lost it. Magenta. Stay on target. Hmm. get those contours right. Okay. You need to go a bit bluer too. Otherwise, we're just too light. We are going to bring some light back into this. The case of just toning the ends down where, so they're pulling back into a shadow. So this should be a lot darker down here. Okay. You're definitely darker. Now for the light. So light is sitting somewhere. Yep. Yep. Got some yellow in there. Try this first. Works for me. Yellow gone. Just be mistaken for thinking it's starting to come together. Yellow there. Okay, this is probably a brighter spot on the painting. Um, Paint it back with a bit of yellow. Quite nice. What's going on here? Where's my hot pink? And hot pink. Yeah. We start bringing in our blues. This is very, I suspect if the photographer was using a flash, this is where the flash hit. This point right here. Play that game of flash. Yellow in there too. Paint it a bit. This one here, my word. Okay, so we just tone all this back. Establish some order. White. There is a white when I need a white. This is actually good enough. Shouldn't really be doing definition at this stage of the painting, but a few bits where it kind of lost my way and the design, I think, of some of these petals. There was too many petals. Quite nice now. That. One. Good day suggestion. Sure. Use the edge of that one. It's fine. Be nice to have one disappear. So I'm trying to get plan was to have sort of magenta on top, blue below, but you know, it is what it is. And in the end, it's my interpretation of the flower, not a photocopy of it. Now we need light, now that I've made it all dark. And for that, I'm going to try back into my very nice. It's very thick. Very nice. Ah, or not play nice. Do it with pencil then. Too scratchy. I have to go find my other one. Don't want to. you down here. Definitely yellow. Get there. No go in there. And put on the, yeah, that'll do. Get carried away here. I spent quite a lot of time. I thought I'd spent quite a lot of time blocking in these petals. Clearly, I didn't spend enough time. Me. Hot pink. Bring in yellow to just tone that back. Lovely splash of hot pink bursting out of the bursts out of this one. Bursts out of there too. Lovely. This one's more in shadow actually. Some light coming down here. What we wanted. Strong. Strong feels like. We can whack into it. That. fairly successful. Yeah. Oh, I was happy with that. Blend that in a bit. That's my hero petal, the one that I started on first and thought that's the one that I really want to. If anything's going to stand out in the painting, it has to be that. So what we want to do now is throw in some lovely bright red. Little everywhere, but just oh, get it in here too. Getting some heat. Picture. Gonna no, intuitively I feel like it needed it. Oops. You really alrighty. Well, what do you reckon? Um, have we got to a stage where it's good enough? There's parts of it that I really like. And, I'll be fascinated to see how's this going to work. Doing it on. So it said these, put those all together. So I'm trying to keep all the pencils I've used on this painter all in the same pottle. So it's my stash. And I want to use the same ones on the next one. So next stream, which will be next week, I'll crack on, and it's a slightly smaller version. The actual flower is the same size, but less background. And we'll use that as the experiment. But it's not so bad. What I'll do is I normally just let it sit for a few days. And I do things like this. Hopefully I don't ruin it. Blue or something, and I go, you know, it just needs something to, I don't know, it's just give it a zing. That's okay. So this probably took about 6 or 7 hours to paint. I don't do flowers, so I've only done a couple. Let's zoom out and see the whole thing. Get in context. There you go. And I'll turn the light off and see if that makes any difference. My camera is attached to the light stand, so sorry about the wobbles. And now you can see it as closer to how I see it. And that's not so bad. I do like the stalk. I'm really happy. It's silly to be, happy about something. It's not really that big a deal. The photo's got a lot more contrast, and we'll see how that comes out on pan pastel, because I'll get more layers on, and that'll be interesting to see if I can capture the same thing. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. My viewer who's stuck with me the whole time, really appreciate that. And those watching on the replay, catching up. I will be back again next week. Until then, wishing you all a good rest of the week and weekend coming up. Bye for now.